Okiru.
But I guess let's start how we really began, right? I always take it back to the sports, the church sports fest.
Yes.
After I created that design, and then you came up to me after that, and you said, "Hey, man, let's do something." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm so down. Let's do something, man." Because already at that time, I was already trying to make stuff for myself, gym apparel, with other people too, but that didn't really work out. And then, so I was like, all right, I know Gerald, he's someone I can rely on. He's someone I can trust, And then when did we start? How did we start? What was the first session we did?
I think, I don't remember the first session, but I just, going back to when I first saw you design the sports uniform. And I remember walking into Sports Fest and I was like, because I think I was at Wyndham at the time. I think I already moved to Wyndham. And so when I saw it, I saw, whoa, Melbourne's one's so much better. It's cool. I've never seen they leveled up their design.
Yeah, man.
I know who designed that. And then I was like, Jess, of course, Jess is just for design that for sure, man. And I was like, I was just in awe. I was like, oh man, that looks so sick. I was like, it was above everyone else's uniform.
Oh,
and
man.
then I remember, I think we had a creative collective night. I think we were just jamming and stuff like that, weren't we?
Yeah.
And then I think we were just before we were about to leave, I think it was just like, oh, you want to start something?
yeah. I remember that. And we stayed up pretty late just talking about it, And then,
I think everyone already left.
Yeah.
Everyone left already.
Yeah. I kind of miss those days, with all the guys. They were just jamming out and just hanging out, just enjoying each other's company. But I remember that. I remember all right, well, how do we want to do this? How do we want to start? It's let's do gym wear, that's the main thing. And then what happened after that? Man, it's such a blur kind of, right?
It is. It feels so long ago, but I guess 2 years is not that much if you think, I don't know.
Yeah.
2 years is it doesn't sound like much, but it's such a long time ago.
It is. I think it feels like a longer time because we've been in lockdowns and restrictions, majority of it. I'm just trying to think. I remember, and then there was this one time you came over and we were trying to think of, who inspires us with our apparel? And we remember we were watching videos of cocaine, just watching them, how they do stuff, how they do their business and stuff. And I'm like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And we're like, just visualizing, casting the vision. We're going to have it at warehouse, right? And, we're still working towards that. And then I remember that's when we started to form the names and start to develop, this is the kind of direction we want to go. And then I remember we went to your house. It was during a weeknight, and we were just brainstorming. All right, who can we get as influencers? Who can we get as who can wear our stuff? Who can represent us in the gym scene? And then we were just thinking, what are some names? Well, do you remember any of the names that we did?
That was so. I remember Conquest was one of the ones that we actually were going to go with. I'm trying to think of the other names. It was Conquest. It was mainly Dominate or something like that. Those type of names.
Very aggressive, very aggressive names.
Yeah.
Why did we choose Conquest? I'm looking back on it now. Conquest of Barrel. I don't know about that.
We're trying to conquer the world. Yeah.
Legit.
It's very dominating.
Yeah. But at least we changed directions. It was unfortunate how we did it, but look where it brought us, right? How did that all start to unfold? I think just life stuff started happening. In your situation, my situation, and it just got so mentally hard because we were trying to create something for ourselves, but then battling all the struggles we were going through.
Yeah.
But then that's when we realized we needed each other the most, right?
Yes.
And that's when I think that's how we got closer with each other. That's how we actually built that. How can we really make something more than just apparel? That's when it just started to develop. This is all stuff we said before, but what was some of the stuff that we were going through, man? Like, I was just thinking, one thing for me was that you hope for support from the closest people to you, that you're trying to achieve something, you're trying to work through something. Especially, I remember being in that state already when we start developing that brand. I was already in a depressive state because previously, leading up to that point, like I got my first job in warehousing, and it made me feel like, oh man, at this age, I'm just doing warehousing. Like I wanted to become a designer, and I was working towards that, but unfortunately, it wasn't getting enough money, so I had to find something else, right? And it just destroyed my self-image because I saw you guys, like you had your lives ahead of you already. You guys had your careers set, and I was like, man, where am I going? Like we're just hanging out all the time, but I got nothing else in my life, right? And then that was hard when you're just battling so many things mentally. Like you're happy developing this thing, and then you get home and it's just, you're so sad and you're so lonely. You feel like you have nothing, right?
Yeah. It's crazy that you say that, like when you're like making that comparison, because deep down inside myself, I was like, oh man, I feel like a failure as well.
Really?
Like, I was like, I guess you can count like these other things that are, oh, this person's successful in this department or whatever. But like in my own mind, I was like, oh man, I feel there's so many things I was failing, like in myself, and like other things that I hide from other people.
Yeah.
You don't see like the full story of other person because they hide these certain imperfections and stuff like that about themselves. So I was like going through that same mindset at the same time. So I was like, I guess I had to like put on another person, like a mask in front of other people, and just like, oh yeah, I'm doing all right, I'm doing right. But deep down, I was like, oh, I'm crushed. I'm like,
How do you think this thing happens to us? Like our life standards, I feel like our life standards are so high that because we don't have something, we're always trying to achieve something greater for our life. And when we don't achieve it in a certain time frame, we put that label, I'm a failure. But really, when we look at in hindsight what we have, this is where I'm going through now. Like what I have, I feel so blessed to have it. Because it's kind of like this. I have to have a choice. I don't have the things that I want, right? I don't have this life that I want. What do I have right now that can potentially get me there? I have these things, these tools. This is where I want to go for that success. What do I have to do with what I have right now? Not thinking about what I don't have to get there. I think that's like the mindset we all have to like kind of realize. We're always saying, oh, gratitude, but how many of us have actually like really had genuine gratitude for the things we do? Like I only realized on my birthday how much gratitude I have for the things I have. Like I always said, oh, I'm so grateful for this, I'm so grateful for that, but I never believed it until I woke up that day and I was like, I am grateful for these things, But yeah, sorry for taking away from sidetracking from that point of you feeling like a failure.
No, but I think that's exactly it. Like just having that doing that comparison firstly, and then not realizing what you already have. Like just going these people might have that, but look into your own circumstances and realize that you don't have to. It's not a race. We're not all like, we're on our own journey. We're on our, there's no set timeline to, you have to, because this person's doing this, you have to be at this certain level at the same time. Like
exactly,
they're on their own journey. They're going through their own stuff. We're on like our own journey. We're doing our own stuff as well. So making that like realization later on down the track just helped me. Like, that gratitude.
For sure. It's like we can't be looking at each other's lanes because it's like what you said. We're all running on a different timeline. We're going towards like the same race, but the time frame of the races are different to us, type of thing.
Mm-mm.
You're reading Can't Hurt Me right now, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah.
How are you going with that?
Oh, I a lot of the stuff that he's saying is so brutally honest.
Yeah.
And so brutal. Like, yeah, it's an eye opener for me because I do. And it's very direct way of approaching life. It makes it simple in a way that you just got to be honest with yourself.
100%.
I like that. Like I've been doing his accountability mirror stuff.
Yeah.
Where I talk to myself, and that's the good thing about like doing that is that you realize, it's not just about like putting yourself down, but it's about improvement.
It is.
This is the stuff you can like say all the stuff that, okay, I did this well, but what are the stuff that I need to improve in my life? Like what are the things that I can do better? Yeah. So thank you for giving me that book.
Nah, it's so good, man. Like when I read it, I was like, bro, you gotta listen to this guy, because he's just straight up, no BS. You gotta hear this. You have to toughen up. You gotta suffer. There's no easy way out in life. You're gonna have suffering, right? And the amount of suffering he went through as a child to where he is, to get to where he is now. And it's unfathomable. Like, this guy went through all this stuff, but he never gave up. And then sometimes, most of us, it might be the smallest thing, but we just give up on ourselves. It's crazy. I don't want to make comparisons to anything, but I like this saying, your worst thing is your worst thing. But at the same time, just because it's your worst thing, doesn't mean you can't get out of it. We all have our own worst things. That's why when we say, I understand where you're coming from, I really do. I've been in the worst place as well. I know what it feels like to feel like utter crap and to not have the will to live anymore. It might not be the same circumstance, but I had the same feeling. That's why I like that saying, your worst thing is your worst thing. Definitely. When you finish that, it's a stark contrast to what David Goggins is. Mel Robbins, I just finished it, The High Five Habit. Pretty much the same thing. It's she's straight up, no BS. But the thing is, she gives a lot, like, even though David Goggins, he gives practical stuff for you to do. She does like really easy habits that I can do daily, and it can like make changes. And that's what I'm noticing now, like just doing the high five in the mirror every morning, talking to myself, saying if there's a negative thought or something that's not helping me, saying I'm not thinking about that. We're just reassuring that I've got to stay focused on what's important. And we're not going to have perfect days, despite having all these tools, we're always going to have to fight, some sort of struggle. But that's a really good book compared to, David Goggins, really gritty, really brutal and graphic. And hers is more like she has her life stuff and she's going through anxiety, going through a lot of things. And I think you'd relate to it too. Cause I was like, damn, like this is the stuff that she's done, like very simple habits. And they're easy to do. That's a really good book. Like the shameless plugs are these books, man. But I think it's important for us to learn, it's so important for us.
Definitely. And I like the fact that, I haven't read the book, but the fact that you said it's simple and like easy things to pick up. I think that's one of the things that makes it easier to make those changes, because when you think about change, you always go, I want to do this and I really want to be like this in 1 week or 2 days or whatever. Like you're already setting yourself up for like, not failure, but like, it's harder to achieve that if you need to build these things like slowly and incrementally by doing like the easy things and, just those little things that make a difference in the end. Yeah. So I was always like that. Like, oh man, I gotta change myself.
Me too, man.
And I'm like, I'm gonna change. But the next day, if I don't achieve those goals that I set out myself, I'm like, oh man, I feel like crap.
Yeah, legit.
And then it just brings you back down.
It does.
But you end up not doing the stuff that you said you were gonna do.
Yeah. Oh, it's so true. Like that's how we destroy our self-image. That's how we destroy our self-respect. Because when you have so many things that you want to do to change and you try to do it all at once, you've overwhelmed yourself already.
Yeah.
And if you miss one thing, you're like, I missed that. And you feel bad straight away. Right. As opposed to like, all right, I'm going to do this one habit and then get used to it. And I'm going to add another one in there. And I'm going to add another one in there. So like with Mel Robbins' book, the habits she does, there are things you could do within the first like hour of your morning. And then there's stuff that you can do throughout the day. So like I do the high five when I'm leaving the bathroom. I just like, I'll just like slap the mirror. Or if I go out and then I'm changing and I was like, oh crap, I forgot to high five myself. I'll just go back, slap the mirror. And it just puts a smile on my face because it's like, it feels so good.
Yes.
And then if I'm at work and I feel down, I'm just like, all right, I need to go to the bathroom and just look at myself. And I'm like, all right, bang, slap in the face. And I was like, all right, sick, man. Like you just get the energy boost,
Yeah.
It's crazy. So she has this one statistic in the book. It's early on. And she says how in the NBA, the highest percentage teams to win were those who had the most high fives throughout the whole season. Yeah.
Really?
How crazy is that? Yeah. How crazy is that? Because the high five builds trust. It builds that connection with your teammates. And that's what it is. And that's what I started doing. Like I'm building that connection with myself. I high five myself. I have to be my own best cheerleader. And like what you said with the accountability mirror, that's what I've been trying to do now as well. Like I'll take some time, sit down in front of the mirror and just like look at myself, just stare like, what's going on, man? Like it's just me and you, let's have a chat where let's see how we can build this relationship. Like I know I've always mentioned this in the previous podcast, but I think it's so important for us to have that relationship with ourselves, right?
100%.
And like what she says in the book is, she mentions something about when you get into relationships, make sure you get into a relationship with someone who's already happy. That leads to a more healthier relationship. Imagine you get into a relationship and that person's already like at the lowest point, so down. I'm not saying not to get into it, but you'd find more success if you find someone who's happy about themselves, right? That's why we're always reminded like, oh, make sure you focus on yourself, right? Or when you get out of a breakup or when you're still single, like build yourself first. And we're like, no, I'm going to build myself in a relationship, But man, like I'm realizing now, like this relationship with myself, my connection now, my self-awareness, I just feel so much better. I feel like so much positive energy. And I was talking to my coach the other day and he was like saying like, man, I can just feel like your self-awareness has just changed, just the stuff that you're doing. And I'm like, man, it feels good. Before I'd be so embarrassed to look at myself in the mirror. I'd hate to look at myself. I'd be like, who the heck is this? You're so ugly, man. Like, what are you doing, bro? And I'd just be self-sabotaging, just saying the worst things about me, as opposed to, like what you said, having that real talk. All right, let's see where we're going. All right, how can you become better? How can you feel better about yourself? What are those feelings? Why are you feeling that way? What can you do about it? Is there anything you can do about it? No? All right. You got to just stop thinking about it. I'm not thinking about that, So yeah, that's like, that's been me, man. Like these past couple of weeks have just been,
Yeah, and it changes you. Like, just having that, just staring at yourself in the mirror and just saying the stuff that, having that real conversation with yourself. Because then because when you talk to someone else, I guess you always kind of put this little bit of you don't want to overtell 100% unless you trust them completely.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be a little bit of a wall. Like you're not going to tell them completely everything. But when you have that conversation in the mirror, that doesn't need to be that wall anymore.
Exactly.
You just break it down. Just like, okay, listen, there's these little things that you need to improve on, and yourself, and you're just talking to yourself in the mirror, straight dead eye.
Yeah.
If anyone saw me, they'd be like, what the heck is this guy doing? But yeah, having that conversation in the morning, even at night, just it's changed me. I feel like when I wake up, I feel more better about myself.
Yeah.
Because I was able to talk to myself and realize, I was able to achieve these things.
Yeah.
And it's not bringing myself down, but I know I need to improve on these certain things. So let's do that today. And then it really works, man.
It does. It really does. And it only works when you do it with action. Like we're actually doing it.
Yeah.
We're not saying this because we just heard it in a book. Like we're practicing those habits that they taught us. And we're realizing, oh man, wow, this is crazy. Something as simple as just talking to yourself in the mirror can make a big difference.
100%.
Crazy. It's crazy. All right, let's go back to the story. So we kind of diverged into, these books and stuff. So where were we? We were talking about how we start to change our direction from that gym wear and into the Okiru space. Do you remember that timeline in between when we started to do that?
I just remember there was a lot of stuff that we were going through. And for me, it was a lot of like relationship stuff.
Yeah.
And that relationship stuff broke me down a lot to the point where I didn't know where I was going to go in my life. It kind of just put me off course. And I was just like, I just didn't feel like I could recover from it.
Yeah.
So I was in a really, really bad state.
Yeah.
But the one thing that pushed me to get out of it was doing this, the Okiru stuff.
Yeah.
So they're doing the brand stuff. And, we both had like that accountability with each other as well, because I didn't want to let you down because we were both in this together. So I was like, I know, like I'm feeling like crap right now.
Yeah.
But I know there's someone like Jasper wants this as bad as I do. I gotta put in that work.
Yeah.
And it kind of moved my mind thinking about the other stuff to focus more on this other stuff on Okiru, knowing that, instead of worrying about all the problems that I'm going through right now, I can make a difference with other people in my life. Yeah.
I remember that. I remember we had that chat. It was after one of the creative collective sessions, and far out, like that was, you could feel the pain from what you were talking about. And I honestly didn't know what to do because I had like no experience in that. But I guess the only thing I could do was to just be there, and just be there for you because you were there for me too. And at that time, we were both going, like, I know your was like, I was like, damn, I don't know how you're getting through this, man. But I remember at that point, you told me like you're about to like give up, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing was, during that time when I told you guys, I wasn't planning on telling anyone. Yeah. And so when it came out, I was kind of shocked for myself. And I knew there wasn't really advice that I was trying to hear.
Yeah.
That having that kind of off my shoulder and giving it to people that not giving, but just telling it to people that I can trust, that wouldn't judge me.
Yeah.
Would lift it off that big burden. Like, I don't know, because I was just holding it inside of myself that whole entire time. And I felt like I'm just going to carry this for the rest of my life by myself.
Yeah. Legit.
And I knew that, I don't have to carry this by myself. There's people that, care for me and people that will listen, and even if they can't do anything about it, knowing that they're there means the world to me. Knowing that they're there, they can, reassure me that things are going to be okay.
Yeah.
Just having that was everything to me. And that was one of the big reasons why I was able to get out of that. So, yeah.
People play such an important part. And like what you mentioned, there's something I heard. It's this saying, like, a problem shared is a problem halved. Like,
definitely.
Sometimes when we share those problems, sometimes we don't need advice. We just need to let it go, let it be out in the world, because it just weighs us down the more we hold on to it. And when we stop from speaking, we're just, you just become hesitant, and that weighs it down even more. You know, and I know you felt that before. I have felt that before, and it does us no good. Like, but we have to share it with the right people, like you mentioned, the people who aren't going to judge us for whatever's happened. Just the people who will just be there to genuinely listen, right? But yeah, that was crazy, and that's why that whole shift, that paradigm shift in what we wanted to do, happened. And then we're like, how can we uplift people like those people who helped us? Like you and I, we uplifted each other.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you for, I really appreciate you being there, because it's a hard time during my life and not having many people to talk to about it.
Yeah.
Just you being there, you changed my life, man. So,
I don't want to cry, but I don't want to cry. Yeah. But yeah, like seriously, bro. Life wouldn't be the same like without you, man. Like we did have each other through that period when we were through that process of building this whole thing. And if there was a time like I felt like I had no one, like I knew I could reach out to you, and you were always there. You were always willing to open your door and just, hey bro, like it's all right if you sleep at night. When you it was so scary when it was so scary, like when you're in your own home and it doesn't feel like a home. Every moment you could just explode. And there's always that one moment, like I always remember, like I was so close to just ending it all, like, and that scared me. That scared me heaps, because I was like what you said, I want to be accountable to Gerald still. Like we're still building this thing together. And I don't want to give up just because of my selfish needs, my selfish, like, to be so weak, to resort to that. It's scary.
It is.
And you visualize it in your mind so vividly, just it happening.
Yeah.
It's a scary moment, man. Like
it is.
That's why we say, like, doing this saved us, building this thing. And I guess that's why, people don't understand, right? People don't understand the full story. Like a lot of it's pretty vague and like ambiguous, but it got us out of that worry, those things that we were struggling with, because we had a deeper purpose of what we wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of us are missing. Like finding our own purpose in life that is greater than all the struggles that we're going through. That's what got us past those events, those circumstances, is we had something more that we wanted to achieve. And we're building that. We're doing that now. And it's been keeping us on the path, no matter how many struggles that we've gone through, It's because we have that purpose for ourselves that we want to achieve.
Yeah. I think when you're going through all that, that when we're going through that stage, that was the thing. We almost lost our purpose, and we didn't know what to do. And then having all those things, Okiru wouldn't be what it is today if it wasn't. And we wouldn't probably even be doing this right now.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for all the stuff that we went through.
Exactly.
I don't know what if we still kept with the conquest and doing gym apparel, we probably would have quit. Halfway through.
Yeah.
We probably would have quit halfway through, because finding that purpose and having it become something more than just ourselves.
Yeah.
It kept pushing us to do it more and improving and making this thing and bringing that awareness to people.
Exactly.
That was the one thing that like keeps pushing us now. Like we need to feel like we need to tell our story and bring awareness to mental health, all the things that we're going through, and giving people purpose as well.
Yeah.
Letting people bring that dream for them to have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's one thing I want to touch on, though, is how can we help people dream again, or how can we help people find their purpose? That's a hard one, because it's not something we can really do for others. It's something they have to want to do for themselves, right? But there's some sort of part we can play some way or somehow. Maybe through our story, they might see, man, these guys went through this and they were able to build something that they really wanted to do. Who knows? But that's a question, I'd like us to try and figure out. That would be so good to do. Yeah.
It's always the, like, you don't want to ever, I guess, what is it? Preach.
Exactly.
Find your dream. But yeah, it definitely needs to come from themselves.
Yeah.
And I think doing those, pushing them in a little bit of a direction of, these are like daily habits you can do to improve yourself. Because I think when you're really low in that state, that's you lost purpose. You don't know what to do day to day. But I think having those little things that improve your lifestyle, just, making your bed, that's
exactly,
just those small things. You might jump from one thing, it's like, oh, today I'm going to aim to make my bed.
Yeah.
And then jump to next day, I'm going to, I don't know, like little things. And then eventually it might end up going to like, what, I'm going to finally chase that dream that I always wanted to be like a world-class musician. Something like that. Yeah.
That's no, you're right about that. No, 100%. So one thing I liked about Mel Robbins' high five habit, she talks about the RAS, the reticular activation system. And when she mentioned about, thinking about that dream, vision casting, we often, let me ask you, when you cast a vision, what do you think of? What is your vision? How would you describe it?
How would I describe it?
Yeah.
My vision, well, I had a dream about it, and I had a vision of us being, I think I mentioned this before, I was at a warehouse, and we pretty much had all the things we imagined. So we had apparel stuff, but we also had like different places where people can chill and hang out and collaborate. And we kind of had like these really cool cards and stuff. And it was a very specific thing, because we were hugging each other, because we were like, oh, we made it, man, we made it. And like, so it was very specific.
I legit, I had that vision too. I'm not BSing you. Like, that's what I saw, the stuff that we want to visualize. And then when she mentions in that book, I was like, it's good to have that vision. But one thing she says, you need to have the vision focused on. It's not the things that we want to have, the things we want to achieve. We have to visualize the struggles that we're going to go through. We have to visualize the hard work that we have to go through to get there. We have to see us going through the hard yards and sometimes failing, potentially,
Yeah.
When we visualize those things and we already kind of foresee them happening, that thing is going to happen. And she always says, she has this reminder, like, whatever happens right now, there's something greater out there for me. And along those lines, don't quote me on that. There's something more happening. And she has this amazing story at the end of the book. I don't want to spoil it, but it made me tear up, because, and when she talks about it, you can feel the emotion of her dream taking shape, taking form, And that's what kind of happened with what we did here, with what we're doing with our brand.
Yes.
I got into design because I wanted to become a sneaker designer. I also wanted to have my own apparel, at one point. And we're doing that right now.
Mm-mm.
I never thought about that.
Mm-mm.
You know, I don't want to get emotional, but I'm grateful for all the struggles and failures that happened in that 4 or 5 year period where I was just at my lowest. You know, getting kicked out of uni. You know, failing countless of times and being told you're not going to be a designer or anything. Being told just get a job, doesn't matter what it is, just give up on that dream of being a designer. Just being constantly told that, you know, that broke me down. And I was living like a bum for a while. Like I always say, I was playing video games for night and day. And, you know, look where we are, man. We have our own apparel. Like that dream, it took shape. And it's crazy. You know, I always had that dream in my mind of just having my own apparel, our apparel. It's something that's what we both have now. And I can't imagine it doing that anyone else than you, man. And I'm so grateful for everything that's happened. Right. In hindsight, it was necessary. Because imagine if my plan went well, saying everything happened as I hoped it would, like finish my industrial design course, go to America to study sneaker design. You know, what would life be like? Right? We wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have met the guys from Fuji Xerox like Will, who has his own, you know, Shinobi, who we collaborated with. I probably wouldn't meet the people that I have met today. And I had to look at that. And it made me emotional because as opposed to being a victim to all the things that's happened, I was like, it was so necessary. It was so necessary because it made me the man I am today. Imagine if everything went well, everything went to plan, I probably wouldn't be this person I am right now. You know, I'd probably be complacent as hell, like I used to be. You know, feel like I'm like, oh, I've already done that. No, I could do this. No, easy. As opposed to being a student who's, you know, teach me something. Like I'm willing to learn. But yeah, we just that past. Yeah, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Right, like it's crazy. It was just crazy to me how much that reticular activation system. Like if you really want it, man, it's gonna take shape. It's gonna take form, but you just can't give up on yourself.
100%, 100%. And listening to you, like, you know how we have to go through all that struggle. Seeing your journey, man, you've grown. You've accelerated. There's probably a few people that know you from like a younger age that if they met you right now or if they're listening, they're like, oh, wow, that's Jasper? Because you've grown so much and having that really hard thing, the struggles that you had to go through. But the person you are today, if you went through the other route, who knows what you could have been, the person. But right now, you know, you should be like super proud of yourself because I've seen your journey. I've seen how you've grown and it's amazing. Like, like I always tell people that, you know, if you talk to Jasper today, right now, you wouldn't think it's not the same person anymore. You're not talking to the same person as you were like 2-3 years ago. This person, Jasper has matured. He's grown. His mindset has grown. Yeah, I'm always like amazed by you as well. Like because, you know, I look up to you too. There's like your because your mindset, because you teach me a lot of stuff too. That's the thing. And there's not a lot of people that do that. You know, you give me value in my life. So yeah, I'm really grateful for that.
Man, you say that, but like, it's because of you guys that I'm me right now. You know, I feel like I can't teach you guys anything because I'm always learning from you guys. You know, that's how I see it. I don't know
Yeah.
what can I do. What value can I provide to you guys? Because you guys have provided so much value to me. You know.
I really learned like heaps from you. You know, even like doing these podcasts. You know, there's a lot of like knowledge and value that you always bring, and even like in the discussions that we have, like. People probably see. Oh, they obviously don't see. They don't see all the meetings we have, and then like the texts and messages, and there's a lot of value that's given between the two of us. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I learned between that I didn't learn. Like I wouldn't probably learn it anywhere else, you know. So yeah,
man,
great. Appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you, man. Like seriously, I always feel like I'm indebted to you guys because. Who knows? Legit, I'm always gonna say, who knows what my life could be like if I didn't have you guys in my corner, you know, supporting me. Because one of the sad parts is when you get the people you think you're closest to, like they, you know, they're not there, right? That was one of the difficult parts of the journey. But I always had, you know, you guys, you know, JP. You guys have been just. Like it's hard for me to explain because I could say you know I'm speechless because I could say so much about you guys. I could just rant and say a whole story, a whole essay about what you guys have done for me and other people who I've met along the way. But yeah, it sucks that some people still have that judgment because of what they see, but they don't really want to know more, right? They're so married to their own ideas, they're married to their own ideologies that they don't allow themselves to reframe that way of thinking. It sucks, but at the same time, it's just kind of like that's life. Not everyone's going to have the same thought process as you, as long as you know who the right people are, the genuine people who just love you for who you are and are just supportive of no matter what, and just care about you and your well-being. That's all you need. And it might just be like one or two people in your life. That's more than a lot of other people. Some people don't have anyone.
Right? That's true. And there's even the case of you can have a lot of friends, but who are your true friends?
Yeah.
Who are they going to be there for when when things get crazy or things get really bad for you? Like who's going to be there? You know, sometimes that's what's needed in life to see who's going to actually, you know, support you during those times.
Yeah.
Because I can like, if you look at your Facebook or your Instagram, oh, cool, I got like 500 friends. But who's gonna be there? Like, you know,
exactly.
Who are you gonna be able to like trust to tell all your stuff to as well?
Exactly.
Not give you that judgment and support you.
Exactly right. You know, it's if we share our lives with everyone knows our vulnerabilities, and you never know if they're gonna use it against you or not. That's the hard part. But if you share it with the right people, it's a safe space, no judgment. It's I'm just here for you, man, and you're here for me. That's it. That's all we need to know.
100%. Probably the people
gave me all teary, man.
The people listening, these guys are just
Oh, man. What are these guys talking about? I don't understand.
So what did we get up to in our story? So
we're like going into different directions, you know, like break it down. So we talked about how from that paradigm shift from the gymwear to the Okiru, and in between we talked about a little bit about our struggles, what we're going through. I guess let's start talking about how we actually came up with the name. We had a few names. I completely forgot what they were.
I think if I say it, I might butcher it. But we had like warrior and stuff like that. Yeah.
Why did we choose Okiru? Like, why was that? You know,
the name. I think it was the meaning. The get up, the whole get up thing.
Yeah,
because I think we just chose it and we're like, you know, a reminder to ourselves.
Exactly.
time to get up.
It's time to get up,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-mm.
It's a good reminder to have, like what they say, like get knocked down 7 times, get up, or is it get up, get knocked down 6 times, get up 7 times? I don't know, I forgot. I butchered the quote already, but yeah, definitely like that's what we had to do, right? That's why it resonated with us, because we had to get up. If we didn't, we're gone. We're not here anymore, right? Yeah, like, and then I remember we got our first prototype of the design. We were like, so, oh my god, this is actually forming, like it was just one shirt, and we were like, yeah, that looks sick. And it was actually like it taking shape, like we actually have something tangible now, right? And the thing is, we're not anything huge or anything, right?
Yeah.
We're just proud that we're doing something that we've always wanted to do, and it's something we have so much passion for. We just enjoy doing and enjoy connecting with people that we've connected with over the past 2 years, right?
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about it, is that doing this, we've connected to so many other people that we wouldn't usually talk to.
Right.
If we didn't have it, we would just be like, doing our own merry thing. But having the Okiru, people reach out to you and they go, oh man, I really like what you said here, or I like what this post. I'm like, yeah, man. And then you realize these other people that they have a what do you call it? A growth mindset as well. Like, they're into that type of thing. And he's like, oh, I didn't take you for that person, but it's like having judgment on them. But you're like, oh, cool, yeah. And then you have like this like mad discussion about it. So
and like I think this journey as well, it's not just a business journey. It's a self-development journey for ourselves. Like, the way I see it, in order to be able to have a good business, like, we have to be our best selves too. And to get our best selves, we have to be able to learn, we have to be able to grow some shape or form. And like, I just look back on it, like, that's how I started my self-development journey, because we had a greater purpose. But yeah, like, it's so crazy, finding that purpose, and it leads to so many different avenues.
Do you remember when we started, like when we were about to launch the website, or even just kind of put our names attach it to the brand? Because remember, we were thinking about, we're not going to even like put our names. No one's going to know about it, that it's us. And we're like, nah, get it. Let's do it. And we were like so scared just to like put our names on the brand. Like, oh man.
I remember that. Like, we wanted to be like anonymous, like, incognito, like no one. What? Yeah. Why were we so scared? Like, why did we have that fear? We didn't want to attach. It's crazy to think about it now.
Yeah, I just remember. We were like, oh, should we do it? Like, we're contemplating. We're like having like this. We're like, oh, should we put our names on it? I just remember having this fear, like that fear. Though. Like, but thinking back on it, it was like so silly. Like, why? I think maybe the reason was that we were scared that that there wouldn't be anyone that supported us.
Yeah.
Like, if we put our names to it and like no one supports us, and then it might destroy our ego. Like, we have this ego, like, oh, if no one likes it, that means they don't like me.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's so true. I think for me also, it could be that, if it fails, they don't know it's us. It's just someone else. Like, oh yeah, did you hear about the Okiru brand that like fails? Oh nah, man, I don't know who that is, type of thing.
Yeah.
But why did we make that decision to just put it on? Why did we do that?
I think we needed I think having like hiding ourselves away from the brand, it doesn't make because it's all about the story. It's all about being relatable. It's all about putting a face behind the brand provides people, oh, these are actual people, not just some random thing, that big brand or whatever.
Exactly.
So having that personable thing in front of people can be more relatable and just make it human.
Yeah.
Make a brand human and instead of just like some cold, dark thing.
Yeah, for sure. Man, seriously, 2 years. Crazy. Crazy, man. Was there anything else that we missed in that story? Obviously, all the stuff in between, but
yeah. I just remember there was like a lot of fear for some reason.
Yeah,
there was like, I remember when we were launching the website, we're like, oh, it was more. Yeah, it was a little bit of fear, a little bit of excitement.
Yeah,
just launching that website, we're like, oh man. And shout out to the guys who purchased straight away. We're like, oh, okay, it's gonna be all right.
yeah. But that's how like true support from like the mates. Here's like, yo man, like we support what you're doing. We're just gonna dive in, right? That I remember that day we were just like when we launched, we were like did the countdown and we were just waiting, like, oh my god, I hope we get an order. Yeah, and we're just like waiting, and it was like, ching! And it was like, oh damn, we got first order, and it just kept going for a bit. And it was like, it felt good. It felt good that not that we had sales, but people were genuinely wanted to support us.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh wow, what a journey, man. What a journey. Obviously there's more things that we could talk about, there's a lot of stuff in between. But I guess let's talk about the new, like the new designs that are coming out, because obviously it might not have a lot of context behind it. So we're calling it the prologue pretty much, right? The theme of it. And the designs is like a pathway, right? Like that's the imagery that we went with, like a path going towards somewhere. There's a little bit of things that helped us get there that we don't want to talk about because it's very very it's a very hard subject to talk about. But yeah, so we call it, I like to call it forging the path, because we're only in our second year. We're still still early in our business journey. So I thought like forging the path, that's like the beginning. We're going towards somewhere. The path's a bit rocky, and then it starts to get a bit clearer. It starts to have a nice form. And that's what's happening now, right? It started so rocky, and then as we're slowly building it, it's starting to get clearer. The vision's starting to get clearer. We're starting to move past different struggles and difficulties, and we're moving on to other things, moving over those rivers and valleys of despair, crossing the bridges,
Yeah, I like your designs because they always have this little bit of, it always can be interpreted in different ways, but the more you look into it, there's a lot of deep meaning to it. Like when you because we always share the designs for the people listening. You share the designs, and like we look at each other. I look at it, both, and we like have the little like criticisms or feedback and stuff like that. And when you gave the forging the path, and had it like the different directions and stuff like that, and we can make like a story from it. I like that there's the story behind every design.
That's one way I like to do things, is having that meaning and for people to interpret things, right? Like create your own stories. I do like the upcoming design that we're working in collaboration with someone else.
Yes.
I'm excited for that. But yeah, you create your own story with the images that we give you. The world is out there for us to interpret. There's no right or wrong answer. If you can explain your ideas and give context behind it, then they can become more understandable. That's what it comes to, right? Just understanding. But yeah, this one was pretty hard to design because it was just like, I don't know where to go, I don't know where to start, but eventually we got there. We did it.
So we have a couple of designs come up. Did you want to talk about the The colorful one.
Oh, the colorful one. Oh man. So the story behind that is with that colorful design. Within it is a mixture of all the designs we've done in the past couple of years. And then you notice that.
I had to look really carefully. I was like, oh, that's so smart.
And the shape of it is like pathways going. Well, that's the thing. It could be open for interpretation. Are you going inside or are you going out from outwards? And that was inspired through deep introspection and just spending time with really very close people and really creating discussions that are meaningful to us. And that was one of the beginning of, I would say, our transformations as individuals, because it was experiences that we have never could imagine. So that's a little bit of a gist of where that design inspiration came from. If you guys know us personally, then you'd probably know what we're talking about. But anyway, so let's wrap this one up. So we covered a bit about our story. We covered a bit about our the next release. How did you want to end this thing? Did we want to go with the 3 questions?
Do the 3 questions each?
Or let's end it differently. What's something that you've learned recently that just made you never think about that before? It's like a really eye-opening realization.
I don't have super eye-opening realization right at this very moment. But,
okay, so what's something you've learned recently?
I think just not to be too harsh on yourself when it comes to the accountability stuff.
Yeah.
When I say that, I'm talking about not having that expectation that you're going to change the next day.
Yeah.
Just taking those little tiny steps. It's all about making tiny steps that make a difference in the end. I don't know if that answers your question at all.
Nah, it does.
Because me having that, because I always think about, I like to think myself as a patient person.
Yeah.
But at times I'm always like, I know I need these things to happen now. And you're always like, I need to, I want to get buff. I need to work out like crazy. And you just, by the end, you just you set your goal and then you get disappointed if you miss a day. And that's okay if you balance it a little bit, but just don't be too harsh on yourself.
For sure, man. That's a good one. I think we are way too harsh on ourselves. I think for me is really detaching from the expectations of everything and, just focus on the relationship you have with yourself. That's super important. When people say you are number one, you're number one, put yourself first. I like to think of it, put your relationship with yourself first. And how you do that, that's going to be something you have to develop for yourself. And for me, one thing I like to do, and I think, you start doing, is to have that conversation with yourself in the mirror. And sometimes it could just be a 2-minute conversation. Sometimes it could just be you staring at the mirror and looking at yourself and really being honest with what's in front of you, like Michael Jackson did. I started with the man in the mirror, man.
100%, man.
That's it. All right, guys. Thank you for listening to this podcast with the 2 co-founders, Gerald Prado and Lawrence Minor, or Jasper, however you like to call it. We really appreciate all the support and all the love that you guys shower on us. And, always stay safe, always take care, and always get up. Peace.